Hello and welcome. This guide is brought to you by Pro Tax Accountant, and today we're going to tackle a really critical part of running a UK business, payroll. We're going to demystify real-time information. You've probably heard it called RTI, and something called full payment submissions. So, let's get straight to it.
Now, we're starting with this quote because I want you to understand right from the off that this isn't just about boring admin. Getting payroll wrong can have some pretty serious financial consequences. That quote? It's from an accountant with years of experience, and it just perfectly sums up the stakes. A simple slip-up can cost thousands. But here's the good news, it is absolutely avoidable.
So, let's set the scene. For a lot of people, dealing with HMRC's payroll rules really does feel like you're trying to navigate a minefield.
I want you to picture this, right? You're a business owner, you're spinning all the plates, managing staff, chasing invoices, the whole lot, and then bam! An official-looking envelope from HMRC lands on your desk. Your heart sinks a little. It's such a common story and a huge source of stress. This is the exact problem the payroll system is meant to solve, but you've got to understand it first.
And that brings us right to the heart of the system itself. You know, to get through that minefield, you're going to need a map. So let's break down the two most important acronyms in UK payroll today, RTI and FPS.
So first up on our list, what on earth is real-time information, or RTI? You've probably heard the term thrown around, but what does it actually mean for you day to day?
Okay, so RTI is basically HMRC's way of keeping everything up to the minute. Think about how it used to be, one big stressful report at the end of the tax year. Well, since 2013, that's gone. Now employers have to send information to HMRC every single time they pay someone. This constant flow of data just makes everything more accurate, which helps stop those nasty surprise tax bills later on.
Right, so if RTI is the system, the big idea, how does the information actually get from your computer to HMRC's? Well, that is where the full payment submission, or FPS, comes into play. Honestly, the easiest way to think of an FPS is as a digital payslip that you send straight to HMRC. It's got all the crucial details for every employee, their pay, the tax, national insurance, everything. Now, the golden rule, the one thing you can't forget, is that you must send it on or before payday. This report is the engine that makes the whole RTI system work.
So we know what it is, but why should you really care? Let's talk about money. Let's look at the direct financial hit this can have for both employees and for business owners.
For employees, this number is just staggering. HMRC refunded £3.5 billion in overpaid tax just last year. A huge reason for that is the RTI data makes it so much easier to spot when you're on the wrong tax code or you've just paid too much. This system is basically your best friend for not giving the taxman more than you need to.
And for business owners, well, the risk is just as real on the other side. £100, that's the starting penalty for filing your FPS late or with mistakes. It might not sound like a lot, but that fine grows with the number of employees you have, and it can escalate really quickly if you don't fix things, all for what could be a simple admin error.
So, to just boil it all down, RTI is kind of like a two-sided coin. For employees, it's this fantastic tool to check your tax code is right and get back any money you've overpaid. For business owners, it is your key to staying compliant and avoiding those horrible penalties. And here's a heads up. Looking forward to 2025, HMRC is going to want more detail on employee hours, so being accurate is about to get even more important.
All right, that's enough about the risks and the why. Let's get practical. How does a brand new employer get this right from day one?
Getting set up is basically a 5-step process. First, you've got to officially register as an employer and pick some payroll software that's RTI compliant. That bit's not optional. Then you gather up all your employees' details, you run the payroll, and you submit that all-important FPS. Oh, and one last thing people often forget. If you don't pay anyone in a tax month, you still have to tell HMRC by sending something called an Employer Payment Summary, or EPS.
Now, here is one of the biggest, most common mistakes we see: wrong tax codes. If a new employee gets put on an emergency code, something like BR, it means their entire income is taxed at the basic rate, with zero personal allowance. That can take a huge and totally unnecessary bite out of their first paycheck. Ouch!
And this isn't just theory. Look at this. We had a real case with a graphic designer who, just by logging into their government tax account online, found they'd overpaid by £1,200, all because of a wrong tax code. It just goes to show how powerful it can be to take a minute and check the data HMRC has on you.
Of course, payroll isn't always simple, is it? Life's more complicated than that. The good news is the RTI system is actually built to handle some of these more complex situations. Let's have a look at a couple.
So these are the standard UK tax plans for the 2025-26 tax year for England, Northern Ireland, and Wales. They decide how much tax you pay on different chunks of your income. The real beauty of the RTI system is that any good software will automatically apply these rates for you based on the data in your FPS. It ensures the right amount is taken off every time.
But what if you have employees up in Scotland? This is where RTI really proves its worth. You see, the Scottish system is different. It has more tax bands and different income levels for them. For instance, their higher rate starts earlier and it's a higher percentage. Trying to manage this manually would be a total nightmare, right? RTI-compliant software handles all this complexity for you automatically.
RTI also links up with other bits of the tax system. Let's take the high-income child benefit charge. If your income tips over £60,000, the RTI data that's being fed to HMRC can automatically flag that you might need to pay this charge. It shows that your FPS isn't just about payroll. It's actively building your entire tax profile with HMRC in real time.
This just drives home how important it is to be diligent. Here's another real-world case where a business owner whose payment submissions were a bit all over the place managed to reclaim over £3,000 in overpaid tax after a professional review. It's just proof that regular checks, whether you do them yourself or get an expert to, really do pay off. So, after all of that, it really leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Whether you're an employee just checking your payslip or you're the business owner running the whole show, is your current system actually working for you? Is it set up to be a shield protecting you from fines and helping you find any overpayments?
Look, getting payroll right isn't just about ticking boxes. It's fundamental to your financial health. To make sure your business is completely compliant and running smoothly, it's always worth getting expert advice. For professional guidance on everything we've talked about today, from setting up RTI to filing your FPS, please do get in touch with the team at ProTax Accountant. Thanks for joining us.